Des milliers de pro-Bolsonaro s'avancent vers la place des trois pouvoirs, celle qui rassemble le palais présidentiel, le Congrès et la Cour suprême.
Depuis ce matin, l'une de nos journalistes suit la manifestation à Brasilia. Et lorsqu'elle a voulu monter dans sa voiture, un homme l'a attaquée et a même pointé une arme contre elle, pour la seule et unique raison qu'elle avait été identifiée comme journaliste.
He reported, one of them outsmarted me. They put a gun on my waist, saying I was going to die. Another leaned in my ear and said I had another gun behind my back.
La place des trois pouvoirs, juste devant le Congrès, porte encore les stigmates des affrontements de la veille qui ont vu des milliers de militants d'extrême droite mettre à sac les institutions de la République.
The investigations are pointing to powerful people actually putting money on this. So this is only the first chapter of this story. Last Sunday, the 8th, thousands of far-right Bolsonaro supporters, their radical supporters, invaded some key buildings of federal Brazil's government, including the Supreme Court, including the Planalto Palace, which is where our president lives. And not only invaded, but also they trashed the place. Like you can see some paintings that was stabbed, like literally stabbed and trashed, and computers. And beyond what were destroyed, also some important documents were robbed from the ABIN, which is our intelligence agency. They were secret documents that were stolen, and some weapons as well. Before that happened, thousands of Bolsonaro supporters were camping in Brasilia to show they were not happy with the results of the elections. They were looking for a sign of the former president to act, and the sign didn't came. ABIN, which is our intelligence agency, they started spotting some messages in WhatsApp and Telegram groups like let's take over. We don't know exactly which was the sparkle that started it. In the Christmas day, his wife, Michelle Bolsonaro, sent those people some food for them to stay there. So they were supported by Bolsonaro. The day before, on Saturday, 80 buses came to Brasilia with people who wanted to participate of the acts. And around 1 p.m., thousands of people started to march to the place where the Three Powers act in Brasilia. Our intelligence agency informed the authorities that these buses were coming, and even though the authorities didn't do anything, even with the hordes going to the places they would destroy later, policemen were scouting them to there. Which is one of the most shocking facts of the whole story. And not only scout them, but also when we have some videos of people who were trashing the place, they show policemen just waiting, just letting them enter. We have some pieces of information that tells us that the authorities knew it, but they are also Bolsonaro supporters. So they just let it happen. Intelligence authorities were advising them to take care of the situations, but they didn't. One of the most important facts of this whole situation, and why even with all those warnings, everything happened that way it happened, is that Ibanez Rocha, which is governor of Distrito Federal, federal district government, he's known as a Bolsonaro supporter. And he chose former a Minister of Justice from Bolsonaro, which is Anderson Torres, to work as the Secretary of Public Security. And before it all happens, the whole situation happens, Anderson Torres took vacations. He's now in U.S. enjoying with his family, and he didn't do anything to stop it. One of the situations that was most frightening in this invasion is how violent the invaders was. Like, we have a statement from O Tempo journalist. We don't have his name. We only know that he was tortured we can say tortured because he was violently assaulted. Not only him, but 12 journalists, according to the journalist union in Federal District. But I want to read his statement because so people can have some idea of how violent it was. He reported, "One of them, the invaders, outsmarted me. I almost fell. More people showed up. Everyone was screaming, pointing fingers, threatening. Some kicked my legs, and then that's one of the most shocking parts. They put a gun on my waist, saying I was going to die. Another leaned in my ear and said I had another gun behind my back. I felt something like a small pipe. I have never felt so afraid, so insecure, so vulnerable as on this January 8th. The Minister of Supreme Court, Alexandre de Moraes, he determined that those camps should be dissolved in 24 hours. And we have more than 1,000 people arrested. They are being taken to Federal Police Bureau. And now authorities are beginning to investigate. There are some parallels with what happened in Capitale in the US. In the action of the way that the horde behave, but also the way that it's going to be investigated. In Brazil, we have something called CPI, which is a reunion of congressmen to investigate something. Sunday, President Lula, he determined a federal intervention, which means that the federal government will take over the place of what a state government should do. Ibanez Rocha, which is the governor of Brasilia, he was removed from his place, so the federal government could let the whole situation. And now the federal governor would take place to investigate it and salute the camps and the things that the governor didn't did until Sunday. The riot act in Brasilia triggered some other violent acts around Brazil. Like this Monday, some people attempted to stop Petrobras refinery. Petrobras is our main gas company, is a state company, and they weren't able to do this because they were stopped before. Other Bolsonaro supporters also started to block some roads. The main roads in Brazil, like Marginal Tietê, which is a huge road in São Paulo. I would say that's our main street. It's not completely in control, but the way I see it is like they try to make the Brasilia Act as a beginning of other acts of violence, but it wasn't effective. Bolsonaro, I can say he was like a god, like people carrying the Bolsonaro's picture and kissing, and it's kind of a religion for them. Who is behind all these violent acts? It's not only thousands of people, but in fact, the investigations are pointing to powerful people actually putting money on this. So this is only the first chapter of this story.